invite you guys to listen to Tammy's story as she shares about her extreme struggles with arthritis and other health conditions.
So originally, I was a website designer and had no intention of being involved in sales in any shape or fashion. I loved interacting with my customers as a graphic artist and a website designer. But then everybody in my family got sick. So it started, my grandfather got a cancer diagnosis in 1996. And then that was the first year I'd ever heard the word holistic. And then in 2005, my daughter was 3. She started having some symptoms that were unusual. And about 2007, I believe she was diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome, which is really rare to be diagnosed that young. It's a hormonal imbalance. And I think that was due to environmental toxins maybe in our well water. And then the year after that, my father was diagnosed with Parkinson's. And the year after that, my younger sister was diagnosed with breast cancer. So myself, I used to weigh 250 pounds, and I still have ugly fingers. You can see the knots on my fingers. I had rheumatoid arthritis from my neck to my knees, and getting in and out of a car was extremely difficult. So initially, I was just researching, trying to find ways to help my family members. And the more I dug, the more I realized how contaminated our food supply was. And everything kept pointing to our food supply. Well, about the time all of this is going on, my doctor, rheumatologist, wanted to put me on chemotherapy drugs. My cousin Teresa had been using a particular brand of vitamins for over 20 years, and she'd been telling me about them for 20 years. But like most 20-year-olds, I was not interested. I never thought I was going to get old. I never thought I was going to be sick. And at age 44, I felt pretty old and pretty sick, and everybody in my family was too. So she asked me to give it a try, and I did. And in 2.5 weeks on the foundations, I got rid of my brain fog. I was pain-free with a few minor diet changes like cutting out soda and processed foods. And that really, I don't know how to say it other than to say set me on fire, because my doctor would have put me on chemotherapy when a few simple natural changes, I was pain-free in 2.5 weeks. So in 2.5 months, I looked 10 years younger. So today I'm 58 years old. When I was 48, my face was so swollen you could barely see my eyes. And my fingers used to look like chimpanzee fingers. And I was just amazed. In 2.5 months, I had gone down a complete size. I went from an 18-20 to a 14-16, and I continued till I was in a 10. I took care of my mom a couple of years ago and put a little bit of weight back on. But it's absolutely changed my life. And I was running a small advertising agency at the time and was a single mom and homeschooling. So I'm not lazy by any means. I'm very ambitious. But I was so determined to make a difference for my family. And then everything that I learned, I realized all of America needed to know. So I began blowing up social media. And in about 3 months' time, I was invited. I ranked up, and I was eventually, maybe within a year or two, I was invited to be a part of a mom's group. There was 30 of us that represented the nation, and I was one of 2 of the single moms in that group. And I've been with the company 14 years.
From all your customers you've connected with and everything, aside from your own story, what would you say like one of your favorite testimonials is, or one of your favorite stories is?
My most dramatic testimonial is a friend of mine. Her mom was already a customer of mine and was a cancer survivor, and she has been doing very well for quite some time, much longer than the doctors would have ever expected. She put a prayer request on Facebook one day that her baby that she was still carrying had polycystic kidney disease. And the doctors had advised her to abort that baby. And this was prior to COVID, when we were still very freely sharing testimonials and things. And I had just read about an entire family that had reversed polycystic kidney disease with a particular product. And that product has 27 global patents. And anyway, so I told my friend, I'm like, I just read about an entire family that no longer has to have surgeries or kidney transplants because of a simple nutritional product. And you know it helped your mom. And this is simply grapes and berries. There's nothing artificial in it, nothing that can in any way hurt you or this baby. And it sounds like it might be, the safest option you have right now. And so she did her due diligence and did some research, and decided it was worth the risk, because the doctors had told her the baby would not survive. If he lived long enough to be born, which they doubted, he would not survive more than a day or two outside of her womb. So she took this, and it's not recommended for pregnant mothers, but, it's just food. And the baby was born with only one cyst on one kidney. And he's slightly shorter than the rest of his class. And he's had to have maybe one or two minor surgeries. But he's 8 years old now.